Hello everyone, and welcome to the Arthur Murray Lifestyle Series. I'm Victoria Regan, the Global Ambassador for Arthur Murray International. I would like to say that the couple we are featuring could be referred to as the Arthur Murray Dream Couple. When you have it all, that is beauty, brains, brawn, and a little talent, it seems simple. Joe and Leisa Howard are here to share the raw truth about what it takes to making it look simple. Hello, Joe and Leisa. It's so wonderful having you on the Lifestyle Series.
Hi, Vicki. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Right off the top, we're going to list your accolades. Here we go. Former Arthur Murray Smooth Champions and Nine Dance Champions, United States Nine Dance Champions, franchisees, Joe, Area 2 Chairman, Leisa, Area 2 Dance Director, Dance Board members, Championship adjudicators, parents of 3. Please tell me I haven't missed anything.
Nope, that's it.
So how do you make it look all so simple?
Well, it's not.
It's not. You know, I think that a lot of times people would look at us and think about, we worked at the Arthur Murray studio in Alexandria, and it was like one of the top producing studios for decades. And sometimes I might think that we had everything handed to us easy, like, on a silver platter. But we certainly experienced our share of life's greatest tragedies. And I think that, the biggest thing is that we always approached life with an optimistic outlook and look for what we can create that's a positive result. And we were both incredibly driven, and we weren't going to let anything keep us down.
Being in that studio as a #1 producing studio, it was a huge studio. So we had, we were both managing there. So we managed, I think it was 14 staff members at the time, close to 400 students. We weren't allowed to practice during work hours because we had to manage the studio and teach lessons. So we had 9 dance to practice for. We were in the studio every day from 8:30 to 12:30 practicing. And we had to switch our hats and switch our clothes, go in and start running the studio and put on our business hats and do that from 1 to 10. At 10 o'clock, we would stay and do rounds until 11 and then go home and work out. And we did that every day for 6 years. We were the only ones in the studio competing, so we had to be self-motivated enough to go in there and make ourselves do it.
And probably like the hardest thing is, as we know, dancing will bring out your most beautiful moments and the most beautiful emotions, and it will bring out quite the opposite. Probably the hardest part was like 12:30 when we wrapped up practice, and if things didn't go perfectly, to switch that hat and switch our faces and turn our mind to getting things done.
We have a very diverse audience. That is, some will be interested in your dance career and some in your business ethics. However, Joe and Leisa, I'm going to ask you to share your story about your very first dance rehearsal together and how I believe it produced your ironclad formula for both your personal and your work relationship.
You can go ahead and tell this one.
So I was at the Alexandria studio, and if there was anything that was lucky, I was very fortunate to start at that studio. The Tice family had such a great methodology of training and producing great instructors. Although there was always the criticism that we were great at sales and teaching lessons, but we didn't have any particularly fantastic dancers, right? And so that was one thing that me and some of my friends like Todd Combs, we were really determined to change sort of that image. And so we started competing and doing stuff like that. And I worked towards my certification, and lovingly, Bob Long gave me the moniker Joe Gold Howard. And it was a little bit more of a tease, because I think I thought I was a big fish, right? At that point, but it was a small pond. It was just the DC area, So when I met Leisa and on our first practice, I went to correct her on something, and this was Leisa's response.
Oh, no, no, no. This is not going to be a thing. You are not my teacher. You are my partner. And you can either choose to be my partner and we can find good teachers to teach us, but we will not have a partnership where you tell me what to do. You know, no matter how many practices we had that were great, or no matter how many practices we had that were awful, and you know, of course there's fights and there's moments we're passionate about what we do. We wouldn't be doing it if we weren't. So there's going to be those heavy moments. But the one thing that I can say, no matter what Joe and I have been through, good, bad, ugly, the most important thing that we have had is a ton of respect for each other. And at the end of the day, that is the most important thing.
Next, the most memorable moment in your dance career, and then take us to the transition into your retirement.
Our best moment in our entire dance career was when we won our US title for 9 dance. And there were so many different facets that made it one of the most highlighted moments of our entire life. And I think the major thing was a year before that, I had had a major shoulder surgery where I had completely ripped all the ligaments in my rotator cuff. And what surgery was supposed to end up being an 8-week recovery ended up being an 8-month recovery. And all of our coaches, everybody, I think they were questioning whether we would get back on the floor. There was a lot of talk within the company like, oh, they're never coming back after this one, or things like that. And we not only came back, but we came back stronger. I think that we worked harder, we worked stronger, we went through all of the pain and all of the therapy for that and got ourselves back on track. Ready for the US Championships, we fly out to Embassy the weekend before, and right before we're practicing, and bam, my neck goes into full spasm all the way down my spine. We had to pull out of the Embassy Championships because I couldn't move, found an emergency therapist who put me in traction for the entire weekend. We had to fly from Embassy Sunday and compete at Nationals on Tuesday. I had 2 days to heal. We cried a lot because we just weren't sure if we were going to have to pull out of the competition or not. And so we practiced every day, but it was tearful, painful. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, we went out Tuesday night and we just like prayed for all of the adrenaline in the world to get us through it. And we did the rhythm on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday did the smooth. And when they announced us as winners, we had won 7 out of the 9 dances. We just started bawling. We grabbed each other. Our coaches came running. We dropped to our knees. We couldn't even stand. We were just so excited. We couldn't believe that we finally got there, that our dream had come true. It took us forever to get out and get our award because I just couldn't even stand up. And just that joy and that feeling was just the most overwhelming thing other than having my child in the entire world. So
it's funny, like the presenters that gave us the awards, I'm pretty sure, was it Mary Murphy and was it Rufus? Yeah, they still remember that day, you know, that because it was just so emotional and powerful. So we'd already been retired for, you know, a couple years, and we haven't, you know, we weren't in our training regimen, so we weren't as sharp or fast or great as we used to feel. And I was sitting there at dinner at the Arthur Murray 100-year anniversary dinner, and I wasn't sitting with Leisa for whatever reason. I think maybe our studio had come. I think I was judging, and Leisa was sitting with the studio. So I'm sitting there at the table all by myself. Well, the other guests, I think you might even been at the table with me that night, Vicki. I can't remember. But anyways, nervous attack. Hands are sweating, heart's racing, hardly having a conversation at the table. And I turned to Gabriella Young, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I am so nervous. I haven't been this nervous in a long time. And of course, at the 100-year show, part of it was, number one, we know we weren't in our normal dance form. The other part is, it was all the important people to Leisa and I were there. All of our coaches were there. All of the people that were judges, Arthur Murray wise, and then national were there. And it just felt like a lot of pressure. And I looked at Gabrielle, I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm so nervous. And she said to me, he's like, well, it's kind of, you know, think about this. What's the risk and what's the reward? And I sat there like, you know, literally chewing on that all dinner long, right? And so finally it's time to get ready. Leisa usually goes up before me because she takes just a little bit longer to get ready than I do, right? So she's up in the room getting ready. I get up and I, you know, put on my suit and I'm in the bathroom probably straightening my tie and, you know, whatever, making sure everything looks fine. And I come out of the bathroom and I turn to the side and I look down the hallway and there's Leisa in all of her beauty in a gorgeous ball gown, makeup done, dressed to the nine, and then it finally hit me. You know, I get to do this with the most important person in my life. I get to share this with her. That's my reward.
While we're speaking of transitions, you opened your studio in 2010 in Columbia, Maryland. What was that transition like, going from a dancer, managerial position to a really big fish, a franchisee?
Yeah,
And,
we retired after the championship, and you know, we had decided that we already knew that our dance life would be very short in comparison to our life within this company. So we had done all that we had wanted to do and more at that point, and we just knew that if we wanted to continue to grow in the dancing, we would have either had to have spent more time practicing and do more. And we, at that point in time, we didn't have any more hours in the day, you know? So there was nothing more that we could possibly do unless we gave up our positions as managers at the studio, and we were never going to do that. So we decided it was time for the next chapter. So we went on to our what's next, and that was opening up our studio. And then our what's next after that was to make sure that we could train managers and train people underneath of us so that we were not the face of our company. We didn't want that. We wanted to grow people underneath of us and lead people to become fantastic in the business. And then actually, Caden wasn't a planned what's next. Caden was just a boom, I'm next. and there came our pregnancy, but we were lucky that we were already set up in the studio to be able to do that and feel very confident in the people that we had led underneath of us to grow our studio.
The hardest thing is when you're good at something, right, is to let someone else take over the reins of it, because in your mind, I don't know, I can't believe it's just me, but there's always a part that's like, oh, I know I could probably have done that differently or better or whatever. And it takes a lot just to be like, okay, I'm going to train you and I'm going to let you take the reins. And so that's one of the things that we've had to push ourselves to do, is to let people grow underneath us. And you're exactly right. Like, if we didn't have our managers and our instructors that were just so dedicated and loyal and hardworking, it'd be very difficult to juggle everything else that we have going on.
Leisa, I know you take great pride and joy in your children's program, and that your son Caden was in the recent graduation. Tell us about that.
Yes. So I've had the children's program now for 3 years, and we worked our way up. Before COVID, we were at about 38 children, close to that number. But I do have a group of them that have been with us from the very beginning, who all of them just graduated last week out of Bronze 2. So I'm super proud of them, and they all come dressed up for the testing, and they were just wonderful. They did such a great job. I'm super proud of them. I'm super proud of the kids program. It kind of got hit a little bit through our, situation, but they're slowly making their way back now.
Joe and Leisa, thank you for being such a beautiful example of the Arthur Murray lifestyle, and by that example, encouraging so many others to pursue the excellence that you both have achieved. Bye.
Thank you, Vicki. And we also want to say, on behalf of both of us, thank you to Arthur Murray International and all that you do to make our lifestyle so wonderful.
Everything that Leisa and I have really in our life, particularly our adult life, because we both started around 19 or 20 years old, we have because of Arthur Murray. And, we're so grateful to be part of this family. And I've had all of my kids have taken dance lessons and learned to dance. My wife is in the business. My brother I got my brother into it. I've had my friends come into it, and people would wonder, why I was so encouraging. And it's just, being in this business has given me the success and happiness that I wanted, why wouldn't I want that for everyone else in my life?
I don't know what life would look like without Arthur Murray. I honestly can't even imagine it. I can't imagine what my life would look like, what life would be like without our wonderful staff, without our wonderful students. And when you go to the lessons and you visit or you teach them and you see what it does for people, and especially through what we just went through, seeing what that did for people, oh my gosh, who wouldn't want to be a part of that lifestyle?
Thank you.
Thank you.
In closing, as always, I thank you all for supporting the Arthur Murray Lifestyle Series, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, stay safe, and I'm sending you lots of positive energy.